It's time for Class Racing Today, the podcast for the NHRA class racing fan. Welcome back to Class Racing Today. ClassRacingToday.com is the website. ClassRacingToday@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments, you can email them there. We want to remind everyone that this show is sponsored or helped supported by your donations. We are run off the value for value model. So if you get value out of the show, if there's anything that you get out, you decide if that is worth something to you. You can decide what that number is and send it our way, classracingtoday.com. Click on the Donate Today button. You get to choose the number that is right for you. And we thank everyone that helps support the show that way. If you are interested in sponsoring the show, your business or whatever, you can email us at classracingtoday@gmail.com and do that. We want to remember, Bobby, talk a little bit. A couple weeks ago, you introduced the premium side of Dragon Sights. How's that rolling? Is that still kicking along?
Rolling. It is rolling a little better than I thought.
Awesome.
I ran out of contingency stickers,
Really?
so I have more coming in, and we'll get them out to everybody that applied for contingency as quickly as we can. So,
awesome.
Just a really cool program, right? I mean, we found out today's guest. I don't want to give too much away here, but today's guests, basically we came up with they need to race each other so somebody can get the leading edge on a win percentage. So this should be interesting. It's a great program.
Awesome.
Research yourself, research your opponents. More importantly, it's free right now to research yourself. Always free to see your own stats. But if you want to see anybody else's stats, you will have to sign up for a premium membership, which is $5 a month or $50 a year.
Awesome.
And then sign up for contingency.
Cool.
That's pretty awesome. I was excited. So talk about a bittersweet day yesterday. My race trailer has finally thawed from its winter cocoon, and I was able to move it for the first time since winter started. So I feel like it's like the groundhog coming out, and it's officially spring. Winter's over. It's just too bad there's not a car in it.
Details.
The Class Racer Revival.
The second annual.
I wonder if I can call in sick for a week so I can actually maybe I can steal a race car. But the frustrating part is, the bitter part is why are people not signing up for this thing? They ran yesterday, they made a plea. I think there was 30 stockers, 30 super stockers, which, was a good start. But basically their point was, if you're waiting for parts and you would like to come, just register, check only. You don't have to pay any money. You don't have to put anything up front, but let them know that you actually are trying to go. If you're not going, that's fine. Don't do anything and just sit there and complain about not making any money or having any money to race for, or not having anything cool to do. But we don't care about that. If you're thinking about going, sign up, click the check option, pay when you get there. They just want to know who's coming, who's not, because we need more people. I saw the result. They put the people that are actually already signed up. I think there was 38 stockers and 36 super stockers now. So we did pick up some people last night. Good job. If you do pre-sign, I think they're actually giving away some drawings. I don't remember how the details of that were. I shared it on the Facebook page, but get off your butts and go. We all want a place to go. We want people to do stuff like this. And if we can't support them, they're going to quit doing it.
That's in St. Louis, April 28th through May 1. RaceDerbyCity.com.
Last year, mine shaft conditions last year too. Everybody was going faster than they had ever gone before, so it was a really good event. 2 $10,000 races and 1 $5,000 combo race. Stock and super stock are separate in the 10K races, so it's
and here's
really
the important
cool
thing, Bobby: faster than you've ever went with no fear of horsepower. Where else can you race class, or not race, class racing, and not worry about getting hit with horsepower and actually make some money if you win?
That's cool.
Exactly. I don't ever have to worry about getting the horsepower hits, so it's not a big deal to me. That's more for people like you, Brian, that go 150 under. But another place that you could have done that was in Las Vegas, March 18th to the 20th, where Phil Mandela Race Cars put on a 10K combo race at Las Vegas, where Justin Lamb got the win there in his, I think he was driving a I think he put parked the Copos for like a weekend and got the old modified Cobalt or Cavalier or whatever he has. Got that bad boy out and picked up 10K in the process. So congrats to Justin Lamb. But again, they had a pretty good turnout at that race. Brian, did you? I know Tony Mandela was going live a few times with the round by round. Did you catch any of that?
Yeah, I think they ended up with like 64 cars. I think it was pretty awesome. I know my my mentor, 4-Speed Johnny, was taken out by Justin Lamb, which it was a sad day. But he did have they did have a stick race too, and I did see he won that. So congratulations, John McLaughlin, on winning the stick race. Better work on that thing and tune on your clutch a little more so you can take Lamb out, because I'm sure you'll be meeting him again in Vegas this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, 4-Speed Johnny's out in Vegas. Is that what you're telling me?
He's gonna be racing Vegas.
All right. I look forward to seeing him out there. See if he cooks again.
If he's there, he's cooking. There. If he's there, he's cooking. Johnny's kitchen, I'm guessing, will be open for business.
His kitchen is okay. Well, I know where I'm posting up. Thanks, Johnny. I'm inviting myself over to your trailer. Let's see. We also had an NMCA race in Bradenton, Florida, where John Astraub, if I'm pronouncing that right, got the win over Rochelle T. Bear in stock, and Mark Nowicki got the win over Stephen Hall in super stock. So NMCA, I know they separated the classes this year, and I think $3,000 to win at those events. I could be right, plus contingency. So not a bad payout at these NMCA cone engineering stock and super stock races going on at these NMCA events. The calendar, we'll have to find that somewhere. I know it's in the Drag Insights. If you log into Drag Insights, we have a master calendar in there, and you can find out where all the races are, and you click on it and it tells you how to get to the track and everything. So use that as a planner, because me trying to tell you right now is a bad way.
I would say the one thing about what's nice, this NMCA racing is another outlet, right? Like, I understand there's people that are diehard NHRA purists. They want the class trophies. They want all that, and NHRA is the way to go. But we have to ask ourselves, we just went through a pandemic, and what happened to all the NHRA races and where you're at? Did you race more or less racing one organization? If you support all the organizations, we'll have not all of our eggs in one basket. So when the government decides we all need to stay home, we have other outlets to go to. My COVID season was awesome because all of our local tracks, our association races, were open. So while everybody sat at home and wished they were racing, we were able to because we support other types.
Well, that, and you have Kristi Noem as a governor too, so you guys never really locked it down, right? So you were good to go.
Mostly. There were no edicts.
Yeah. Lovely. Yeah. I bet you not quite like that in the state of where our guests currently reside today. One more thing I want to cover real quick. Nova, Oklahoma had a Division 4 event, and Greg Stanfield basically just picked up right where he left off, got the win in super stock, and congrats to him. And Jeff Lopez got the win in stock. So congrats to Jeff Lopez. So that rounds out our results for the past 2 weeks. And one other interesting tidbit is Darren Poole Adams had Steve Foley driving a 572 cubic inch crate motor Copo at the Gainesville Divisional and National. It is number 4 on the they say it's number 4 for the not the VIN number, but whatever the car number that they put on those things.
The build number.
I think they make so many of them. And but it was actually the first one off the floor, and it's definitely the first one to be raced. And I know it's causing a big stir on classracer.com about this 572, whether it's rated properly, this, that, and the other things. So in true Darren Poole Adams fashion, he is not quiet about anything on Class Racer. He goes by the name Gump, and it's pretty fun to watch what he posts up there. He actually called out Robin Lawrence the other day of Holly, and he wants to have a match race or a best of 3 with him at an upcoming National Open, because I guess they are going at each other to see who's better. So we'll keep you updated on that.
Oh, the horsepower drama. It's a brand new car, first time out, and everybody's pissed. But let's look at the cars out there that are still underfactored. Like, it all works itself out with people.
That it does, as long as you are not too foolish with it. I mean, you gotta protect it, and that's what everybody's doing these days. So we'll see how well he and Steve Foley maybe play that chess game. So, all right, we'll keep everybody updated on that. Enough about that. Let's get to these guests today. We have quite a lineup today.
We have a cornucopia of chaos for today.
Hey.
Look at that. We have the team Loge Stein Racing. We have, we got to remember this now. We got Mike, then Chad, Randy, Nan, and Jerry, right?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
How are you guys this morning?
Good. Real good.
All right, so who was the first one up? You guys are on the West Coast, so who was the first one ready this morning?
Me, of course.
Now, we also know who drank the most coffee this morning.
I'm the only one that's techy enough to make this come off, see?
So you're the tech coordinator, so any issues, you're
Yeah.
IT.
Yeah. Me and the computer are best friends.
If it wasn't for Nan, we wouldn't even be entered at these races we go to. We'd be start trying to pay at the gate.
Behind every good...
Clearly, she is the smartest. That's why she drives the Ford. I mean, she's the thinker in the group.
What can I say?
You have to be ready for a challenge if you're going to do something like that.
Well, I will tell you that Ford challenged these two over here trying to make that fuel injection system work. That's computer work, you know. So these two guys on a computer, they got it though.
Yeah.
Good learning curve for them.
It's quite the adventure.
How did you come about that car? Tell us the story. How did you end up driving the Ford and the Mopar crew?
That's an 86 Thunderbird, correct? I want to get that straight before you. That's a 1986 Thunderbird O stock automatic.
NOP. I've been running it N. So it just depends on what we're doing. Jerry was racing and I was going with him and I was doing data and that sort of thing. And Randy was going racing and they finally decided, well, maybe I wanted to race. So I'm going, no. But we were at Fallon, Nevada at a division race. And there was a guy in front of us in white T-Bird with a for sale sign on it. And he sold us that car for, what was it, $2,600?
Yeah, delivered it. It was a bracket car, sportsman class champion multiple times.
It was supposed to be for bracket racing locally here, so I could kind of get used to it. Well, that lasted for about one race until we went to Utah and they decided it needed to be a stalker. And I raced my first race in Utah against Justin Lamb. Now, I didn't win the race, but I treated him, so I was really excited and happy, but he couldn't understand that because I didn't win. But for my first race in treating Justin Lamb, I figured I was doing pretty good.
Still has a ton of ram and nitrous on it, but other than that, it's pretty much a stalker. It's pretty much a stalker.
I think what happened. I think probably what happened is you guys were going to the track and nobody got signed up, and you're like, we need to figure out how we can get here every single race.
We're looking at each other at the gate. What do we do now?
Where do we
So
turn in our
that's kind of
cards?
how it happened. And then I have a son-in-law who likes to paint cars, and he paints a lot of motorcycles. So the next thing I know, it had purple flames on it. So it is what it is, and it works fun, and I like driving it. And there's just seems no point in changing now. It's a good car.
It's a good combo. It's been a great car.
Good car.
And then just to add to that a little bit, it's my youngest son man was kind enough to let him get his feet wet, so to speak, at Tucson last year in the fall. Made his first few laps in it. So now it's kind of a training car, I guess you could say too. So that was pretty cool.
Were you like that? Was Nan the instructor then? Like, all right.
Yep.
No, this guy here is the best instructor there is. He's very calm. You screw up and he doesn't yell at you. You know, he just says, it's okay. We're going to do it again until we get it right. But he's the best. Totally the best.
That's pretty cool. How did
Yeah.
I
mean, I may be the computer person, but the guy who's teaching everybody how to race around here, well, it might be Mike, but when Mike's not there, it's Randy.
I just need to teach myself how to race, and we'll all be good.
Mike's famous.
I'm too busy worrying about everybody else. So I'm learning from their mistakes, I guess. I don't know.
Mike's famous line is, okay, kids, let me show you how this is done.
I have a really good friend, and it's he was helping us coach us through some stuff, and his dad, who's been involved in this program, or been involved and basically brought all of his kids up to the same thing, and the kid gets all the credit. Oh, he's so good, you're so awesome, you're such a good teacher, and his dad's like, everything he says, I told him, right? Like, behind the teacher, there's a teacher. So that says a lot about Mike to teach Randy, or maybe Randy taught Mike. I guess that's pretty cool.
How old were you, Randy, when you took your first trip down the track?
My first official pass down the track, I was 13 and a half, I think, at Baylands Fremont Raceway. And I remember it was in a G-Stock automatic 1972 Duster. And the original plan was to just go 8th mile, and shut it off. But I looked over him as I put it in high gear and was feeling pretty good at that age. Heck yeah, that's the fastest I've ever been. I look over at him because he's in the passenger seat. And he's having kittens over there. I'm not lifting. I ran it to about 1,000 feet. And he was having kittens over there. Not ever been down the track before. He was pretty nervous, but it was cool. That's when it all started. Been around it my whole life. Fortunately, he's been doing it for so long. I went to my first drag race at Lions when I was 2 weeks old, so been hooked ever since.
That's too funny. I think my first pass down the track, I ran it to about the 1400.
Yeah.
What was that?
Trust me, I wanted to go all the way to the sprint car track.
Yeah. Oh, wait, that was where I was supposed to let off? I don't know.
Yeah. We're just getting going, Dad. Come on.
So where are you guys out of? What part of California?
Go ahead, man.
We're all in Brentwood, California. Central California, that's east of San Francisco.
Yeah, Northern California.
Northern California, not the OJ Brentwood, but the Northern California Brentwood. We've all been here for years.
Kind of met up with Mike one day. He had his business is L&L Turf, sells turf, and he had a shop next door to the feed store. And I saw all these race cars in the backyard, so I went in and started talking to him. And Mike and a couple of his sons were in there because there's 3 of them, although Scott's not here. Mike's got the 3 sons. And we became friends. And one day at a race that we were hanging out at, and there's a lot of downtime at these races, so they sit around and talk a lot. And Jerry had an old 1972 Demon that we had bought back from a friend. He'd sold it 2 years ago and it sat in a barn in Oklahoma for years. And we brought it back, and Randy says, I'll help him build a race car. I'll help you build a race car. So they built the Demon that Randy drives in 44 days. It was over Christmas. They worked solid. So we called it, or 1 month and 4 days. So we called it the 44 car. So anyway, they built it together and we become friends and started Loge Stein Racing and the engine business. And that was probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago when we started, and it's worked out really great having this combination of Loge Stein with everybody that's involved here.
So Jerry, were you racing Jerry at that point, or when did you start racing?
I waited till I was an old man. So I think I've raced about 12 years, pretty steady, and played around maybe with the street car off and on. But yeah, I waited until I could afford it.
Have you always been part of the Mopar Brethren, or did you ever go to the dark side?
Well, my first car was a 68 Polaris station wagon hand-me-down. So I've had a bunch of different cars, Chevrolets and Fords and some really cool muscle cars. I didn't have a muscle car when I was a kid, thank God, because I probably would have wrecked it. But I ended up going back, and pretty much that's what I'm stuck with. I mean, I like all muscle cars, but yeah, I've had Mopars.
It's just nice that once you, if you like stray from the Mopar fold, they do let you come back in after, a certain amount of lashes. So.
Yeah, you probably get beat up pretty good showing up in a Chevrolet, I imagine. Ford guys are a little more tolerant because they're a little different anyway, right?
Well, there's not very many of them, so they just they're like just out wandering around, and anybody that'll let them park that stuff by them, You got a few extra oil puddles and stuff around your pits, you don't want them too close, but.
We make up all the problem solvers of the world.
Then you get the guys like these two that have been Mopars forever. Have you guys ever driven anything besides a Mopar?
Oh yeah, I started out with Chevrolets and stuff. My first trip down the track was in '64, and I had a paper route. I saved up about $500, and I bought when I was 14, I bought a 348 Chevy, a 58 348 Del Rey Chevy that one of my friend's cousin had, and he got some girl pregnant, had to sell his car, and I bought it from him. And then my parents would drive me and my best friend out to Irwindale when I was 14 and drop us off, and we'd race all day, and they'd come back at the end of the day and pick us up, and we'd cap up the cutouts and head home, you know, and it was a lot of fun. You know, we didn't even know any difference. Back then, there was nothing in the rule book about having a driver's license. I think that a lot of the top fuel guys had gotten DUIs and stuff, and I don't think they wanted to put that in there because they would have lost their top fuel field. But so there was nothing in the rule book about having to have a driver's license or anything to do this. And a couple of times I thought we were going to get questioned about it, but it all worked out. But I started racing, and it's been with me ever since. But I started out in Chevrolets, and they always seem to break a lot. So I finally got a Mopar, and when I started racing the Mopars, the things just ran and ran, and I didn't ever have to get under the car as much as it seemed like. So that's what started the Mopar thing, and that was about 1969, 70. And my first real true super stock car I built when I got out of the Army in 71, I had bought a used Hemi Cuda, 70 Hemi Cuda, and I kind of followed stock and super stock drag illustrated. Then Tritac and Morgan were building a Hemi car, and I kind of copied everything they did, and the car ran real good. I actually set the record at Orange County Raceway at the divisional in 1972 with it, but we didn't back it up. We were 5 pounds light on the scale when we tried to make the back up front. So, but that was when all the factory guys were running those Hemi cars, and I felt pretty good about that, you know. But anyway, I've had a lot of cars, and it's just been a blast. You know, I've had a lot of fun doing it, and a lot of years of doing it for sure.
It's been a great family thing for you. Your family's really close, and everybody races. And Mike's wife, Debbie, she loves the races, always loved the races, comes with us frequently. It was great.
So what was the atmosphere like back then, like in the 60s, 70s, you know, when you were racing? What was the atmosphere at the track like?
Well, but you know, the super stock cars were really the top breed. You know, it was funny when we would go to a race, you know, there seemed to be more spectator interest in all the new muscle cars than there was, you know, even in the top fuel and funny car stuff, you know. But so, you know, we were kind of, you know, put on a pedestal a little bit there for a couple of years anyway. And then Pro Stock got going, and it brought about a lot of the factory cars too, and then it kind of dwindled a little bit, got a little softer as years went by. But I don't know. I've always stuck with the stock and super stock stuff. You know, it's always been where I was interested in, and you know, kept that part of it going.
So, you know, in the 70s running a Hemi Cuda, I mean, you were basically had one of the new, you know, the current cars, like the current supercar, basically. I mean, it's no different from the new Copos and stuff. Did everybody complain about it too, like they do nowadays, or?
Oh yeah, you know, they you know, we were going way under the index and stuff then, or actually we ran off records then, but it was, you know, they were always bitching about the Mopar stuff, you know, that Chrysler had, you know, and then even in Pro Stock, they started, you know, they went, I think, a couple of years without any restrictions on different cars and motors and all that. And then they started really hammering the Mopar stuff, you know, when you know, Sox and Martin and all the factory guys were dominating, they started, you know, making them run more weight and stuff like that. So, you know, it always seemed like they had it in for the Mopars. You know, I think we were always a little bit ahead of everybody with stuff, you know, with research and development and all that stuff, you know, guys, camshafts and stuff, and guys would come up with stuff, and it seemed like they shared a lot of information, you know, so everybody could you know, run good.
Well, and it seems like that's been happening for years, right? So Mopar was involved, Sox and Martin was the people to beat. You know, you come to my model, like the Gen 4 Pontiac stuff, when Pontiac got really involved, you know, all of a sudden the LS stuff, you know, they factored it and they put a lot of research in it, and that was kind of the car to beat. And it just seems like, has Ford ever been the car to beat?
Well, the Cobra Jet's at 68.
68 Cobra Jet, baby.
Bobby, I don't know if that was aimed at you or Nan. I'm not sure. Yeah. You know, I think Ford's Bright Star was in 68 when they showed up at the Winter Nationals with all those Cobra Jets. They definitely, you know, they definitely had something there. And,
They had something in factory stock, and then they took it away from them pretty quickly. So
yeah, and the Cobra Jet thing too, you know, they had a real nice factor on that Cobra Jet for a while, and then it got taken away too pretty quickly. But yeah, there's been some shining stars for Ford, but probably not a lot.
So let's go through the cars here. So Randy, you're the main engine builder, it sounds like. And you
Is
run
the engine builder. He builds all the engines.
all the engines.
Yeah.
Looks like he could break some of the engine pieces in half too. Jeez.
Come on, Bobby. Come on, Bobby. Yeah.
But I heard you're a nice guy. So
I'm really nice guy. Yeah.
all right. So you run super stock K automatic Demon, correct?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
What's the combination and then advertised and factored?
Okay, the engine combination is a low compression 340. It's factory rated at 240. It's NHRA rated at 258 to be quiet. It's a pretty good combination, to be honest with you. It's not the best out there. There's not a whole lot of guys that run this combination. There's a guy in Division 1. Charlie Walks ran it. There's a few of us, but most of the guys that choose to run the Mopar small block 340 usually pick the high compression version of it, which would be the 70 or 71. We have a guy out here on the West Coast, John Irving, that runs one. He runs really well. There's a Howes runs one. But anyway, they all run really well. But I'm pretty proud of my car. I think obviously it takes a lot of money to go fast with everything, and I think we run pretty good for what we have. Went to Indy. I qualified at Indy in 2018. That was a huge, by the skin of my teeth. But that was a huge accomplishment for me.
Well, the K automatic index is 1125, I believe.
Correct. Yes.
What's the quickest that you got the car to go?
I've gone as fast as 1036 with NK.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And then what's the minimum weight for you in K?
3265 with me in it.
And then the trans, what kind of trans and who builds that?
It's a Pro Trans 904, 3-speed 904 torque flight.
Now the 904 like the 68 Hemi cars, do they run that in AH class?
Yes, they've got automatic versions. Most of those guys, it appears that they're all going to a stick, 4-speed.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Cars, have all gone to the sticks, but the ones that are still running the automatics, yeah, it's a version of a 904 that Pro Trans modifies, and I think most of the guys, either A&A or Pro Trans, are using their parts and their stuff.
So the 904 is pretty stout then.
Yeah,
and,
well, it can be. Yeah, we've had some problems with the big block versions of the 727 904 stuff. Planetary sets breaking and stuff lately. We don't know what the issues are there, but we're not the only ones. But anyway, yeah, but they tend to do pretty well. Yeah, we asked a lot of those parts. We're everything's as you know firsthand, everything's aluminum, everything's lightweight, so we're pushing a lot of that stuff to the ultimate. So
well, and
when something breaks, you can't be too upset about it, I guess.
And I know, like, so I went from a 727 in the Duster that my brother has, and we put a 904 in that. I mean, like, literally almost every component in that's like 20% lighter and smaller than it is in a 727. I mean, they're just so much more efficient.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no different than like the automatic guys like Ford, you know, the C4s versus the C6s and stuff. You know, ProTrans makes a version of that. The Turbo 350s and the Metric 200s, you know, lighter, all the smaller internals. Everybody tries to get it small and less rotating weight and all that stuff. So just sometimes you get on the fine line where you start giving up durability and longevity. You know, you got to walk that line fine. You know?
It's the never-ending battle and decision that you have to make, right? I've always leaned more on longevity, and I'm getting a little older now, and I kind of want to go faster. So I'm starting to play with that fine line of, well, let's lighten it up. Let's see if we can go faster. Let's run thinner oil. Let's do it up. And then if it goes kaboom, I'm just going to be really depressed for a while.
Yeah. Especially during eliminations, during a round, that's when it really hurts. You know, time trial, you usually have time to fix something, but when it's in the eliminations, that's what really bites. You know, when it starts to hurt.
Definitely. What kind of converter do you run?
It's actually an ATI. It started out as an ATI, and then we have a local racer here in our Division 7, Len Schneider, that does all the updates and modifications, if you will. Been using him. Actually, he's been a family friend for my entire life. I've been, you know, he was racing with my dad back years and years ago. And it just so happens that he's really good. I think he's the best in the country, actually, as far as transit converters, especially converters. But anyway, he does all our converter updates and maintenance and stuff.
He runs a Thunderbird too, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a super stock, yeah, GT. Yeah, 351. It's a Cleveland 351. Runs really well. He's run that car. He was actually one of the, not to get off on another subject, but just real quick, he was actually one of the first ones, you know, Don Kennedy and all those guys, F.J. Smith. He was actually one of the first ones when they originated that super stock GT class. He built that Thunderbird in 83. 84 started building it, and he was one of the first ones to bring it out to Winter National. So he's had that car a long time.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, GT.
Yeah.
I like it's. I don't know. It's got its pros and cons. It's like communism. Looks great on paper, but then when you get out there,
yeah, that's right. It's. I'm kind of with you there, Bobby. It's the GT cars they're cool, they're neat, they're sleek, but I'm a muscle car guy. I think there was a time for those cars, but I think I would like to see more muscle cars come back into the class, but that's why stock I think is more appealing because, you know, obviously the new cars and stuff, but there's still a lot more muscle type cars in stock on there, and that's what I think.
Yeah, I like the eye candy, and that's the way I'm trying to push stock and super stock. Muscle cars, car show, wheelies, not a Cavalier, not a Cobalt.
Right, exactly.
I respect what those cars can do, and I mean they are purpose built race cars. I mean, you line up against one of those, it can be pretty intimidating at times, but you know, I want to see the Duster, I want to see the Demon, I want to see the Mustang, the Camaro, the Z28 69 Camaro, things like that. That's what draw me. But then I love to see an 86 Thunderbird get on the track too. I love the parity, you know.
Yeah.
It's running what it came with. That's my thing.
Yeah, exactly right. I think you hit the nail on the head there as far as just the parity, you know, everything.
If you want to talk
I'm gonna
about
get I'm gonna get a ton of hate mail now.
If you want to talk about
when they opened up to you know, to put the late model engines in the older cars in the FGT classes or whatever they are.
I want to talk about Chad's car if you want to talk about iconic muscle cars.
Yeah.
There too.
Yep.
Tell us about your car, Chad.
I run a 70 GTX 446 pack combo. It's 390 from the factory, 393 NHRA rated. ProTrans ATI converter, same. Len Schneider's been through it. And like Randy said, I remember going to Len's house way back when he was working out of his garage in Hayward, you know. That's it. Had the car about almost 20 years. It's been in the family. I actually bought it from my brother Scott, who got it, changed hands a few times, but it was originally built by Don and Steve Wan, and Don Wan drove it for quite a while out here. And then
actually, the car Scott owns right now is one of Don Juan's old cars too. So we kind of, you know, we're pretty close with Steve and we've, I don't know. It's nice to know the car from where it originally started.
Well, the cool thing about a GTX is they were basically the luxury fancy muscle car. Like it was one of the highest end cars Mopar had at the time, but yet they were really awesome. That's probably, I had the iconic 68 Charger that Johnny helped me restore, but the GTX has always been one of my favorites. I mean, those cars are just classic. That's probably one of my favorite Mopars of all time.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun car. It's a big car. Big behemoth.
It's hard to make those work too. I mean, you got a long wheelbase and a big old nose. I mean, they're just not the easiest thing to make go down the track either. Have you got that all dialed in pretty well, or who does the suspension tuning?
It works really well. It's got cal tracks, all that stuff under. It works really well. And actually, that car, I can't remember the last time it's spun. And it's mostly, you know, we get on a dicey track somewhere or something. But you know, with all the you know, cal tracks and all the tires and all the stuff we have these days, just about anything does big wheelies and you know, even the mid-class cars. Back in the day, I remember watching Dad when we get a picture where the wheel was 3-4 inches off the ground. We thought the thing was rotating the earth. But, you know, now you got
In stock automatic
cars leaving like my C stock automatic. It's crazy.
So do you run what do you run for motors? Is that the 446 pack combo?
Yeah. It's got 3 headaches on it. 3 headaches.
So these Chevy and Ford guys can't make one carburetor work. Who the heck is doing your carburetors that you can make 3 work?
No. So, hey, I'm not a tuner. I put them on there, and if they give me a problem, I come running to either Randy or Stevie's always around to help me out. I'm just like, hey, here you go. I try to tell them what it's doing, and hopefully they can figure it out.
Do you have to mess with them much, or do you pretty much, once you get them touched, you lock them all down and Randy hides all your tools so you can't touch anything?
I tell you, we ran that thing for 15 years and never had to touch anything. And I've had a few little problems the last few years, but nothing major. Nothing to the point where it won't run or whatever. But it's getting a little stumble here and there or whatever. And they got to get the kink out of it, and then it's fine.
Well, I heard.
I live by the theory: if it ain't broke, don't touch it. Leave it alone. You see these guys digging into stuff when they should have no business being in there, and they just cause a problem, cause more headaches for themselves than anything else.
Well, that kind of confuses me because my mentor John McLaughlin, I think his theory is if it's just sitting there, you might as well wrench on it.
Stop.
If it's just
love Johnny. You gotta love him, man.
Fix it until it is.
If it's just sitting there, you might as well touch it. I think it's his theory. We always give him a hard time, like, John, oven mitts. You need to put oven mitts on when you're in the pit so you stop touching the clutch.
I think he lays on the back underneath his car more than anybody at the racetrack.
I don't know if he has a TV under there or what, but that guy spends all day.
It's not really him.
I would never want a 4-speed car if that's what's entailed. I'm way too lazy for that.
That's probably what that and lack of driving skill, but that's probably what intimidates me the most. Everybody's like, put a 4-speed in your Camaro, it'll be so much awesome. I'm like, I've seen John literally lay under his car all day, like every day.
Come on, Bobby, you gotta step in, bud.
Laying in the shade. It might not even be him. It could be. Did you ever see that Rodney Dangerfield skit where he's teaching everybody how to be a mechanic? He's got the dummy legs under the car. He says, you go over to the mannequin, you talk to him about the price. There's nobody under there. Maybe John's just getting shade. Maybe he's just taking a nap. Who knows?
Well, those cars do provide a lot of shade, so I guess there's probably room for everybody under there. He did give me a little insight, though. Apparently you guys like to just show up and hit one hit and then start breaking hearts on the track. What's up with that?
Yeah, that's the way, especially over here. He'll roll in the gate, no sleep, right into the car and make a hit, and he's ready.
003, dead zero.
And so we travel together, so I got to kind of follow suit with him. So whatever he's doing, I got to do. So
he's got to go sleepless too.
Yeah.
So you guys are like the last car up on the staging lanes, the last time hit.
Yeah. for 72 years old, this guy can do it.
He rocks.
It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
I maybe heard that he doesn't race a lot, but he just shows up last time trial of the day, rolls in the back of the group, and boom, double O.
Yeah. But he's got us kids wondering sometimes, what are we doing wrong? We've been here since Monday. He shows up on Friday morning.
And goes further.
And he goes further around. Yeah.
We're actually kind of lucky now that we race with them. At least we always have a spot saved for us because they get there a few days earlier.
We get there kind of when you're supposed to.
You guys got the pits all set up, all the food's ready, and they just roll in. What's for supper?
We roll in and just make it a complete disaster.
Well, you know that everybody that's trying to play the ladder just hates it when they see you guys roll in. Like,
yeah. I'm sure we pissed some people off, that's for sure. Yeah, it's hard. We've got businesses here to run and stuff, and we're always,
you got your priorities. You got your priorities all
trying to always trying to get that extra day of work in before we leave, and stuff. It's not easy, but sometimes,
we make it work.
We make it work, and we have fun. I'm 72, and there's a lot of people. I spend most weekends with my 3 sons. And it's really a gift.
Thank you, Lord.
I don't know if it's a gift for them, but it is really. I
think they made a TV show about that.
Keep the family close and stuff. We're a very close knit family, and it's fun. It's fun.
So how did that start? Which was the first son to go down the track? How did that start? Talk us through that.
Yeah, that was Randy. And he was, like you said before, he was 14. And
I was at Indy in 1986, and I was 14 years old. Oh, I don't know if I can say that, but I was racing at Indy in 1986. I was 14 years old.
Yeah. And you went to the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah, I went to the 4th or 5th round. Yeah. Don't ask me why or how. I have no idea why.
And said get in the car, and you did.
Yeah. But different times then, obviously. But like I said, I went to my first drag race at Lions when I was 2 weeks old, just a brand new baby, and been around it my whole entire life.
So had a wrench in his hand ever since.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was out of the 3 boys, Jazz mechanical. But as far as I was always in the shop, always in the garage next to him, and it's cool through the years. Like I mentioned, Len Schneider earlier, as I was growing up, all the different people that I was fortunate enough to be a sponge, listen to them, learn from them all. Steve Winter, Len Schneider, Steve Hahn, all these guys growing up, Dave White, growing up, pretty cool. I had some pretty cool mentors, so to speak, I was probably a pain in the ass a lot, but as a kid, getting in the way and stuff, but I was trying to learn and I loved it. Still do.
So is there any sibling rivalry at the track? Have you had to step in and break up any fights or anything, Mike? Or
we keep it competitive, but we as a family. But Dad always lets us know who's got the most trophies on a pretty regular basis. On any given holiday, whether it be Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Or a Tuesday.
He gets it in there, and there very well could be a Wally of some sort at the head of the table. And he says, when did I win this one? Oh, I won this one in October. When's your last? What's the date on your last one? It's kind of that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of badgering going back and forth, but all in good fun. It's just a competitive fun, and like Nan was saying earlier, it's just we're super fortunate to be able to do it and do it as long as we have, and a lot of that is Nan and Jerry's. We formed this, like I said, formed this team, and it's cool. We have a lot of fun. It's as much fun now, I think, as it's ever been. As far as racing goes and being with the team and stuff, but can't say NHRA is doing the best things. That's a whole different subject, but yeah, we still have a lot of fun doing it. Really enjoy it.
And I think it's important to understand that Randy is the guy who keeps everything together. He's the engine builder of all these engines, like I said earlier. And anything goes wrong, he is in there no matter what time of day or night it takes or how long it takes. I've seen him take an engine that was failing out in Pomona, take it out of the car, drive it home to California, or up here to Northern California, tear it down, totally rebuild it, and be back a day later
with the engine, putting it back in the car so he can race.
2 hours sleep, if that.
I mean, he is the mechanic, the builder. He'll help anybody and everybody make it happen. He's what it's about.
And that's a disease. That's a sickness. That's not. I don't recommend that to anybody.
Well,
It's true.
Do you try
the
to?
thing with Ricky too is that when we were younger, or when he was much younger, we'd go to. I remember one time at Vegas, we had cars set 3 national records, and me and Randy are there, and I think Gene Mospec was driving one of the other cars. So we're all tearing them down, and so he kind of, was kind of thrown in this. I'd say, "Hey, pull the head off that car there," and. We kind of had to regiment the workout, and he got kind of hands-on training. I remember one year at Pomona, we had 4 cars there, and they were all in the teardown barn. And I think Gene Mospec was driving one of our cars there too. And thank God for Gene. I don't think we would have ever made it to race day with all 4 of the cars being apart, and Randy too. We all just had to dig in and do it.
We would have made it because 3 of them got bounced. So we only had one to go back together. We only had one to go back together. So that's cool.
You had a lot of spare parts that next day.
Yeah, that made it easy.
Do you try to keep things universal? Like, do you have similar transmissions, or how do you manage that many cars?
Well, so I'm the only, I guess I run a small block. Jerry and Chad run big blocks. So those are different same basic inner workings of the transmission, but they don't mount to the motor, so to speak, the same way. Different size bell housings. So they're completely different cases. And then obviously Nan being a Ford, that's totally separate. But gear sets are gear sets as far as inside the transit. So that's a nice thing. But as far as carrying a spare trans, we'd have to have a whole nother truck to carry parts for everything, because they are different in some way, shape, or form.
Gotcha.
So that's a little.
And Nan's car actually doesn't make enough horsepower to break the transmission.
Ouch! That hurts. Ouch!
Don't tempt her.
It's also nice that other racers pitch in sometimes when we need it, that have a spare, because they only have 1 car and 1 spare. Where we carry so many, it's impossible.
Yeah, Steve Wan's come through numerous times in the heat of the battle, especially with Jerry's car. We've had a lot of transit issues with it in the last 2 or 3 years, but breaking gear sets and stuff. But and you guys know the camaraderie in the racing fraternity family, if you will, it's so tight knit that I don't think there's many racers out there that won't lend a helping hand or a part or whatever else. And then we've been fortunate on both ends of that through the years to be able to, either receive or help, in that matter.
Do you guys?
But we try to. We emphasize. Jerry and I talk about this all the time. We emphasize on trying not to. And we're not the fastest cars out there by any means, but we try to keep things, because we do have a lot of cars. And if everything broke at once, I don't know what would happen. But we try to keep the carnage, so to speak, to the bare minimum, and try to do as much preventative maintenance. Obviously, with 7 and 8 cars going to these races, it's pretty hard. Jerry works his tail off also, and as my dad and Nan and Chad. But we try to do our best at keeping the parts breakage at a minimum, if at all possible.
Do you guys use a team approach, or do you have a strategy to keep from lining up against each other, or do you just fight it out?
It's hard with that many cars. It's impossible.
Yeah. Especially the national events are tough, because as you guys know, the way they do it, your 2 hits on Friday, you don't really see a run sheet. You almost got to live at the Racers for Christ to try and get these sheets ready. Nan's always on the computer waiting for, the stats to come out so she can print it ourselves off of live timing or whatever, just so we can kind of somewhat, if we can, we try to qualify all kind of close if for the most part, but it bites us in the tail a few times.
And you're waiting for Mike to even get there for his last pass.
Yeah, that's another thing too, is that we kind of know where he's going to run, so we'll figure he puts us, he'll be in this spot. But yeah, I mean, and it happens with him because he runs super stock too with the CUDA, and he runs K automatic a lot. I think he's widened up now. He moved to L, but he was always, I'd be on the top 16 or top half, and he would be in the bottom half, and we were always a car 1 or 2 spots, if not lined up all the time for first round. And so we kind of we kind of had to play the ladder game a lot in Superstock just for those two cars. But
And Jerry and Chad seem to end up against each other.
But hopefully it's third round or
Yeah,
something.
and
Not
that's
first.
and that's fine too. If it's later rounds, hey, it's somebody's moving on, so that's all good.
Yeah, that's okay.
The first round pairings are tough. You know, it's happened quite a few times. We try to eliminate as much as possible.
And sometimes too, especially at the COVID, the car counts are low. I mean, we're 15 to 20% of the field, so we're always going to end up racing each other somehow.
Yeah, and then like you said, at national events where they're only taking 50 cars, it's bound to happen. Second or third round too. So, how do you guys feel about all these tracks? Like now, Wild Horse Pass is closing. I mean, that track is gorgeous. I like that place. You know, the lake right there. Where in California are you going to go to race? You know, pretty soon.
The streets. We're doing the street outlaws now. No, it's looking it's
Bakersfield.
Bakersfield. Well, we did get a bonus. Bakersfield's been a track that everybody knows about. It's one of the original racetracks, and unfortunately, we haven't been able to race there for the last 15 years or so. They haven't had an event there for stock or super stock or points races or whatever. But they put it on the schedule this year. We got a double there, so that's going to be awesome. And then, but
Salt Lake City, we raced there quite a bit.
We really liked Salt Lake City. It was a little bit far for a drive, but it was always that track was run really well. The staff there was awesome. The track was nice. But unfortunately we lost that one too. And then now, like you mentioned,
And Sonoma bite us last year.
This year too.
Yeah,
And
we're hoping 23 Sonoma. We've heard rumors, but we're hoping all the rumors are flying, but we hope 23 will bring back the divisional at Sonoma. But
that's a track I want to get to. I've heard it's one of the nicest in the country.
Yeah, exactly. The closing of Firebird is really sad because it's been talked about and obviously been threatened to be closed for several years, but it actually sounds like this might be the final.
You talk about COVID and not being able to race and the things that we've had to do out here in Division 7 and deciding where to race. Like last year, Mike Rice, I mean, there were a bunch of races bunched up at the end of the year, but he did pretty good arranging things for what he had to work with under the circumstances because California pretty much shut down. You couldn't do it. And because we were one of the worst states for that sort of thing. And, it's been tough. It's been tough. And now we got racetracks closing. So I think he's got a tough job trying to figure out where to take these races for the division.
If it wasn't for Vegas, we'd be screwed in Division 7. That's for sure.
Yeah, we have a lot of races.
Yeah, and so
But that's 10 hours away.
Yeah.
all of our traveling, the closest track to Sonoma is an hour, but almost everything else is 4 hours to 11 or 12. So we really have to put the miles on the vehicle.
It's getting as bad as you, Brian.
Yeah, that's the way that's sounding like that. I think we're 3.5, but it just fortunately we have the association racing, and I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on NHRA or what the way to fix it is, or if there's a fix. But if it wasn't for the association racing that we have, I wouldn't have one. Like it wouldn't make sense. It's not financially feasible. Just the time of having a family and stuff, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, Vegas is a good place for that association racing. We didn't make this year again. We were still waiting for parts. We were talking about going, but to the race that they had in Vegas. But even that, when the tracks we don't have, it's kind of even hard to find places to do that on a regular basis. And I'm also the one that pays, make sure the bills get paid. And just figuring out what it takes to take that big rig with 4-car trailer behind it down to Vegas and back is like $1,500. It's huge with the gas prices here out
How
there.
much is diesel where you guys live?
Over $6.
It's about $6.50 a gallon for diesel right now.
Wow.
It just hurts.
$6.49, I think, is the cheapest I've seen.
Well, if you guys want to come
I think it was $3.
if you guys want to come up this way and run a class race revival, I just paid $4.50 yesterday. So fill up, you can save money.
That's right.
Yeah, we were just back east and we found it. I think, what was the cheapest we found? $4.99 or something. $4.44, I think was the cheapest we found. Yeah.
I found it for 443.5.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. It is crazy.
It'll be interesting. It sounds like after talking to Cody Lane, there's some work about maybe doing more association stuff north of you a little bit, so that might give you guys another outlet too. So That'd be pretty cool.
Sorry, man. I just got an email from, I think it's Steve Teeter, about an association they put up there, but which is great, and we'd love to support it. Dad and I went down to Vegas, a couple of weeks ago or whatever, for Mandela's race, just to support it. We got in last minute, showed up Saturday morning. But even going up to the northeast is northwest is that's another 10-hour trip to get up in those parts. So it's just for a combo race, I don't know that would be something that any of us would do.
I think these combo races, especially in that area, would be strategic if they lined it up, maybe had a Vegas like 10K race the week before, maybe a divisional or national or something, and then you could just go there and knock them both out.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's key.
That's like the double divisionals too. That's a great idea, because once you've made the big investment to get there, you want to try to get the most bang for the buck, so.
But see, I don't understand, like the race in Vegas 2 weeks ago, you're paying $200 to enter for a chance to win 10 grand. Why there's not, it's 4 hours from LA. Why there should be at least 100 cars there, easily, stock and super stock. But I think they had 61 cars, which isn't bad. But the potential that's there, that should be there, is always underwhelming on the West Coast for whatever reason. I'm not sure. And then everybody complains and bitches about that you can't race or this, that, and the other thing. But you go to a divisional where you're paying what's a divisional now? $200 each for a chance to win 2,000, and then hopefully you'll get another 1,000 or so in contingency over the course of the next 6 months. And even a national event, Dad won Sears Point last year, or Sonoma, and he still hasn't got all his money, and maybe he got $6,500. I don't know what the final tally is, but it just doesn't make sense. To me, I don't understand why there's not a bigger backing for these combo races that I'm sure is a lot of work for these guys to do it. And that's a lot of the reason why they do it one time and then they won't do it again, because it's just not worth it for them.
Yeah, they lose money. Yeah, I don't know. I think scheduling is one thing, because a lot of these combo races, they seem like they put them up really quick and they don't give guys a lot of time. So I think scheduling would be a big thing. If they could give more notice, if they're going to have a race, that would be good. Help the attendance a little bit.
Well, I think one thing that helps Midwest class racers is every weekend's a double, so you can race Saturday and Sunday. So I mean, you sweep it, you got $4 grand, for $200 entry fee, and you're there all weekend like it's one tow, 2 races, and that's.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like the double, even the double divisionals. I don't know that anybody that I've heard ever said they don't like them.
Yeah.
Well, I think we talked about it earlier. Like, people say that, and I don't remember who I had the conversation with, but fuel's so expensive. Well, yeah, I agree, it's expensive, but if you can drive and race, actually it's like for the Vegas race. Yeah, it's a drive. You guys had to drive there, but you're there racing for 10 grand, but you're going to spend the same amount of fuel racing for 1,200.
Yeah, and the other thing, like Vegas, we left cars there from last week or from the week before. So we left cars there for this weekend and stuff. So, that saves a little gas too. You get twice the gas mileage when you're not towing something or close to it anyway. So, that helps out a little bit too. Paul Wong has been great for us in Vegas. He lets us store our cars at his place. And I mean, I can't thank him enough, because he saved us a lot of fuel costs and stuff going back and forth and stuff.
So in the past few years, we actually changed our program where we pretty much only go to double races.
Yeah.
They don't have to be the same weekend, but at least the rig is one weekend after to the next, and then just dropped single races. Like, I don't think we've been to Pomona maybe one out of the last 4 times. So, and that cuts your fuel bill in half right there.
Yeah, you just wonder if NHRA is going to do anything to are they going to try to do more doubles, or, you just wonder what their thoughts are there.
Yeah, they should definitely look at it because it's going to make, if this continues the way it is, it's going to be a big, huge thing, Well, it's going to affect a lot of people.
I think we're pretty fortunate as far as that goes in Division 7, because I think 4 out of the 5 races are doubles.
I think so.
I was just gonna comment on that. I think our division director, Mike Rice, he's pretty pro double headers. So I think he's always seems like he's helping us. And as we've been talking, we love him. So keep it going, Mike.
And you guys are fortunate out there because the weather factor plays into your favor pretty well. You can plan doubles. You can plan that, man, there's probably only like a 5% chance that there's going to be rain that weekend. And it can be tough in other areas of the country. So yeah, these division directors really have a tougher job than a lot of people realize.
Yeah. And just to touch on that subject, like Nan was saying earlier, Mike Rice, our division director, we had a real, with the COVID and everything, last year's scheduling was just a mess. And we had a divisional at Phoenix was at September or something.
September was horrifically hot.
But everybody wanted to blame Mike for it. And it wasn't his fault. He's between a rock and a hard place as far as scheduling these things. You only got a small window, and out here in the fall, we're extremely busy with the schedule. So they had to throw that race in, and of course it was 115 degrees. But they did an excellent job, I think, the way they did it. I know a lot of car count sucked. I know because of the heat, everybody knew it was gonna be hot. But they ran us a couple rounds the first half of the day, and then gave us like a 4 or 5 hour break through the day, and then we ran the remainder of the race at night. It was a double header, and they actually cooled and watered the track between the two intervals, and it actually worked out really well. It was miserable and hot, but it was the same for everybody. But in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't too bad, and we were racing, and he did the best he could, and it actually worked out really well. So things aren't always going to be perfect, but in that situation, it was not bad at all.
Nope, and you're never going to please everybody. So. Yeah. Hey, he pulled it off. That's great, and probably won't be like that again.
Yeah.
And you know what? Wild Horse Pass is going away, so you won't ever have to worry about it.
You won't have to worry about it. But it's a perfect example. Is you complain and do all this complaining and stuff. Well, then that track's gone. How bad was it? Obviously, I'd take that race any day of the week when they're not in it.
Ray Thurston wants to know where Scott is.
Yeah, we're wondering the same thing, Ray. Scott's at work. I think there's a bar between here and his house, and I'm thinking, and it must have still had the open sign flashing because I'm thinking he pulled in there and he's having a couple road sodas.
We figured he was just holding the phone.
Yeah, his truck is programmed. Any bar that's still open, it'll just take a left or right into the parking lot.
You got a lot of hellos today. Pete Lanciers said hello. Scott Dugdale said, "What a crew from the West."
Yeah. Hey, Scott. Tippy. Yeah, Tippy. How are you doing, buddy?
Byron Warner said hello. And,
who was that?
Byron Warner, Division 1.
Oh, Byron Warner. Hey, Byron.
And then James Mitchell. Kite.
Yeah.
Yep, James Mitchell. Kite. Sorry, hey, Loge Stein rocks.
Yeah. Hey, Mitch.
Great.
Yeah.
Hi, Matt.
So I want to dive into a good question on the NHRA thing. What is some rules or a rule that you guys think need to be changed? How do we make it better?
How long is the show?
I don't know. I think they need to be consistent with their teardowns.
Just tear down period.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to have the class racing, I think they need to police it. This stuff where they're not tearing any cars down hardly at all. I don't think is very conducive to the stuff we work hard to get everything right and everything. But also I'm really against the horsepower factory. I hate that system. I don't like it. I think we work hard on our cars. We ought to be able to run them like we want to run them, and where you have to detune the car at every race. And if you get it in good air and stuff, you gotta, get the weight up there. And
I didn't know that you're always detuned. How many strikes did you have last year?
You're always.
He doesn't know where the 1,000-foot truck is.
I'm out there to race. I'm not out there to play games, you know, Jesus Christ. It seems
Well-
like sometimes you gotta sit there and think so much about the pass that you're gonna make and where to shut off and where to do this and everything that you can't even concentrate on what you're supposed to be doing, you know.
You know, with the horsepower, we were real excited when they made the announcement that they were gonna start looking at horsepower a little differently, looking at the 8 mile and the incrementals and determining whether they were gonna do a horsepower hit or not. And we thought that was a pretty good idea if you were staying with a horsepower system, that we liked that approach to evaluating how people were running their cars. And then they took it away. So
Yeah.
I think that's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I didn't understand a lot of these. There were some rule changes and then they were quickly rescinded. Like,
Right,
I don't know what
exactly.
that was all about. Travis Logie is my new best friend, though. The red light rule, it should be who red lights by more and not who red lights first.
Yes.
Travis,
Oh, yes.
That's been a big debate.
That's the grandson.
That's one of the grandsons. That's Chad's son. This is
Chad's son.
Yeah, his older
Oh,
son.
was that him?
Yeah,
Okay,
Travis Logie.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you,
where's
Travis. Yes,
Yeah,
that's,
I'm for that.
Yeah.
What, is that the True Start?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd be for True Start.
I like True Start. I
Yeah.
like it.
absolutely.
Yeah. I just lost, the last race I lost, I had 001 red.
how'd that feel?
Yeah, he wasn't.
how'd that feel?
Yeah.
What was the guy behind you 120 red? Or
Yeah.
I don't know.
who's going to Vegas this weekend? Anybody I can look forward to seeing?
Just
I'm driving Chad's GTX in stock.
the old man's going solo.
All right, I will see you there then.
Yeah, we still have the motor out of my CUDA. We're waiting for some parts on it, and we should have it back together shortly. Right now, I'm having to beg, borrow, and steal a car to run.
Scott Logie does say good morning from whatever pub he's at.
Sorry. The rest of us would have been at Vegas for sure, except that we just had a few unrace related issues that have to be attended to this weekend, unfortunately.
Scott does say good morning, so from whatever pub he's at, does have internet service, so he's watching.
Yeah, poor Scott, he got laid off in this COVID thing. He worked for Marriott for years and years, and he got through all this stuff, and he went and got a job at the city of Brentwood, and then no sooner did he get that job than the Marriott hired him back. So he's got 2 full-time jobs right now. He's trying to hold down. He's trying to figure out which one he wants to keep. So he's been going through that for about 3 or 4 months. So he's really been busy, really busy.
Whichever one gives better health benefits.
Yeah.
Go with that one.
Yeah, that's kind of what he's weighing. I think it's.
I would go for the one that has the most paid time off if you're going to race.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, one of them, he starts really early in the morning, which allows him to like hit the bars in the afternoon, I guess. That's what Randy said.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing,
Scott likes to have a good time.
Yeah,
Scott's a fun guy.
yeah.
As everybody knows.
Yeah.
This interview would have been a lot better if he was here.
Well, the one theme I'm getting, Mike, is you must have instilled some work ethic, because it seems like the boys aren't afraid to work and get things done when it needs to get done. So
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. You never know what you're doing, if it's right or wrong, but you just keep going ahead. And like I said, we've spent a lot of weekends together, so they couldn't have hid too much from me, you know, and I would have been on it. So anyway, being that close around them and stuff, but I love them all, and I couldn't ask for any better sons. I'll tell
So
thanks, Dad.
you. No.
So which one's the better racer? Who has the best record between the kids?
Here we go. Now you're gonna really start this up.
I think Chad is. I think Chad's the best racer we got. That's my take.
Randy, were you agreeing, Randy? It looked like he kind of wanted to agree, but
No, you know, this game is so luck involved. When it's your day, it's your day. You know, it's.
Randy has a big disadvantage too, because he can concentrate on his own problem. All I have to do is drive my car for the most part. It runs like a street car. And, but Randy has to take care of not only any issue that pops up on our team, but all the customers' teams, anybody else that's around there, so he doesn't get to concentrate on his driving. Not that that's a problem, but he just doesn't have the time to do it because he's busy at the track. He probably dreads going to the track, where we think it's a lot of fun.
But
yeah.
I have to say on the fall races last year, he won Vegas, one of the Vegas in the doubleheader. Randy did. Jerry turned around and won Tucson, and then Randy runnered up in the combo at Tucson. So
he was on a tear.
Everybody has their day.
I remember posting pictures of Randy a couple of times at the end of the year last year. So, and mentioning his name because I had to ask everybody how the name was pronounced because I was Loge and then Loge. Yeah. I said, "Is it one of those?" Somebody comment, and somebody said, "No, neither. It's Logie." So,
but that's drag racing. I mean, we're all aware of it that you could do the same thing, and the wind light keeps coming on, and keep doing that same thing, and then it's like the wind light goes out, and you don't see it for 4 or 5 races, but you're not doing anything different. It's just the luck's falling your way, or what have you. So it comes and goes. It goes in spurts. We all know that. So I love riding Randy's coattails when he's doing good, or Jerry, or my dad, or anybody. I love it. It gives me a reason to
want to come back.
My motto last year was I'm standing around watching my dad race. Nobody probably even knew I was racing because I was always out early, and he was always going around. So we're watching those guys.
That's one of the fortunate things about having a team with so many cars is that we were talking about. It's not anybody individual that wins. I get just as excited if Nan, Jerry, Chad, my dad, anybody wins is more or less than I do. Obviously, I like winning, but there's so much self gratification in one of the other cars doing well too that it's a team as a whole, not just one individual person. I know it's and we have more chances obviously to win. We're not a Justin Lamb or a Jimmy D. Frank or something like that where it's coming every other weekend, but certainly when the wins do come, man, there is nothing in this world that takes me to that high. You know what I mean? There's nothing like it, man. I'm so passionate and so thankful for that when it happens, it's a feeling that not many people can understand.
Well, one thing about it.
Last year, Jerry won his first race in Tucson, and we were almost probably as excited when he won that race as when Dad won Sonoma.
Literally, the weekend before when I won Vegas, I was more happy when Jerry won Tucson than I was when I won Vegas the weekend before.
And I was just shell-shocked when I won. I actually was happy. I didn't know what happened. It took 2 weeks for it to figure out. I might be able to go late rounds, but I can't string 7 runs together. I don't know. Bridesmaid.
Well, the bar they have at Tucson set a record that night. Yeah. I just wanted to throw that in. It never had so much consumption in one evening at that bar as they did that night.
They have a bar at the track at Tucson. Have you guys been there? It's great.
Yeah.
Right at the track. They don't open it until after racing's over, but when racing's over, it was hopping that night.
Yeah, it was hopping that night.
Bonfires and all.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Tucson's a cool little track. Speaking of track, and we lost that divisional this year.
Because the car counts. They need to have a double. That's one of the races I feel that
they should do a double.
They would have a lot better turnout if they did a double.
Yep.
Because it is a really, really cool track,
Nice. It's a cool area too.
Yeah. I want to check that one out. I'm glad I did get to Phoenix at least one time in my life. There's still a couple more on the bucket list. Vegas this weekend. I've been to Pomona. I've never been to Sonoma, so I'm hoping to get there. But Mike, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you in Vegas this weekend. Jesse Sanderson, thank you very much. Got me a crew pass, so I'll see you there as well, Jesse Sanderson. And well, I'll be doing some driver interviews, so stay tuned. Mike, we'll have to get you because we didn't really talk about your car that much today, so we'll get a nice detailed look at it this weekend if you don't mind.
Okay.
Oh, and Pete Lancier says, I'm late. Don't worry, Pete. I'll be there soon. Friday morning. And Tina Somerton says, best racing team and the greatest group of peeps.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Tina. Hi, Graham.
Yeah, I haven't seen them for a while.
They've been doing a lot of racing back there.
Oh, yeah. Are they back there now again?
I think they're traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're traveling because she retired.
Awesome. I guess, is there anybody else you guys would like to thank while we got you on?
I tell you, Steve Wan is a lifesaver. Lynn Schneider's been our transmission guy for years and years. ProTrans, there's probably so many people we're forgetting, but everybody just helps so much. Now at my age, my kids help me so much. I couldn't be racing if it wasn't for them, and I appreciate all the help I get from them and stuff. But it's just, there's so many people involved in this, and just like what was said earlier, it's just like a little family, or a big family that you have in this whole racing thing. That it's just unbelievable how people pitch in and help you when you need it.
Our mom who puts up with all this stuff all these years.
Yeah.
Puts up with him for 50, how many ever years they've been married. And just rolls along with it.
Yeah.
3 boys, or actually 4 boys, 4 kids.
Yeah.
Drag racing their whole entire marriage. Can you imagine? 52 years they've been married, and we've been drag racing the whole time.
I'm thankful to my wife. I'm living the dream.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. You're definitely one of the most consistently teams. I mean, you're always in the hunt. You guys are always you're deadly when you're there and when you're on, and you guys are always consistently right up in the going rounds. So it's cool to meet you, and thanks for coming on and getting a little insight into the team, and we appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
It's been fun. Yeah.
It's been real. Great. And we'll see you at the track.
I'll see you in Vegas.
In Vegas.
Perfect. Bobby, you're going to be down there, correct?
Yes, sir.
You're making the trek down to the Sin City. Is that what they call it still? Who knows? ClassRacingToday.com is the website. ClassRacingToday@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments, send us a note there. Also, remember that you can support the show. Go to ClassRacingToday.com, click on the donate button, and choose the value that you get out of the show. Send it back our way to help so we can continue these conversations. The other way you can help support the show is to tell more people about it. So get it out there so more people can listen. And we appreciate all you that do listen and everyone that helps support it. We couldn't do it without you. Thanks a lot. Have a wonderful week. We will see you next time. See you later.
Thank you.